Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel, thank you. Today is explanation of upcoming of Battle Through the Heavens episode number 86 based on novel. So let's start. The old figure remained slowly suspended in the when he heard Xiao Yang's voice. He glanced at Xiao Yang, who had a naked upper body, and snapped, "You have stayed below for such a long time. I thought that you had met with a troublesome matter. Ziyang and those fellows have repeatedly asked me if they could come down here. How can I agree to their request given the danger of this place? Hence, I can only come down on my own." Xiao Yang laughed when he heard this. He pulled the snow-white ring that hid Tian Huazunja up his sleeve without drawing any attention. It was better to keep the matter of Tian Huazunja a secret. It would be more of a disadvantage than advantage if other people were to know about it. Although Xiao Yang trusted First Elder Su Qian, this was after all something related to an expert who was once an elite dozun. Hence, it was best if fewer people knew about it. First Elder Su Qian naturally did not notice the little actions of Xiao Yang. His feet stepped on the empty air and paused at the cave. His eyes swept over Xiao Yang and he involuntarily let out an exclamation when he sensed the change in the latter's aura. He asked, "You have broken through?" Xiao Yang smiled and nodded. He said, "I have coincidentally broken through just before First Elder descended. You little fellow, this training speed is really a little too much like a monster. Back then, when I was still at the Dohorn class, my fastest advancement took me around a year or so, but compared to you, it is really somewhat embarrassing." Su Qian helplessly shook his head. This fellow's training speed was really somewhat of a blow to others. Xiao Yang rubbed his head and smiled. He did not tell First Elder Su Qian about the fire lizard people under the magma nor about the matter of the flame beads. It was best if no one else enters this place after he left. After all, there was a secret that was kept forever in Xiao Yang's heart at the bottom of the magma. The moment that the secret was revealed, it was likely that the entire Do Chi continent would tremble because of it. This is, the stiffness on Su Qian's face continued for a moment. After which, Su Qian appeared to have recalled something and shock filled with disbelief instantly surged into his eyes. He felt dull when he looked at Xiao Yang again. A while later, he suddenly frowned and asked in a deep voice, "Have you placed the fallen heart flame into it?" Xiao Yang smiled and nodded when he heard this. He said, "This is indeed a genuine fallen heart flame. Why is it that you don't use your brain? I have already said that the fallen heart flame's absence from the inner academy could save us some trouble. Now that you have already subdued it, taking it out again would harm you a ton. You might end up remaining at this level forever. How will you go and battle with the Hall of Souls in this manner?" Su Qian clenched his teeth and spoke with resentment that stemmed from Xiao Yang being unable to meet his expectations. Xiao Yang was stunned when he saw the First Elder Su Qian's manner. He immediately recovered after coming to a sudden understanding. It seemed that Su Qian had thought that Xiao Yang had taken the fallen heart flame out of his body. Xiao Yang involuntarily laughed. A warmth also appeared in his heart as he did so. "First Elder, you are mistaken. This is indeed the fallen heart flame. However, it is not the one from the past. Otherwise, how could its might be so weak?" Xiao Yang shook his head and softly laughed. "It is not the fallen heart flame from the past." Su Qian was startled when he heard Xiao Yang's words. Only then did he recover. The fallen heart flame in this flame-gathering pot seemed to be a little too weak. It was far inferior to the horror of the fallen heart flame in the past. Xiao Yang felt a little ashamed as he looked at Su Qian, who appeared as though he had relieved a big burden. In that past, the First Elder had always said that everything was fine. Yet, his heart had actually been thinking about this matter to such an extent. However, it made sense if one thought about it. The blazing sky Qi refining tower was so important. If it simply disappeared, even Xiao Yang's heart would unavoidably feel a disappointment. "Let's not talk about this." Su Qian hurriedly waved his hand after appearing to have seen through Xiao Yang's thoughts. He smiled and said, "One of the reasons that I have entered this place this time round is to see if any accident happened to you. Another reason is to inform you that we have news about Hanfeng. Xiao Yang was startled when he heard this. The smile on his face was withdrawn slightly. A coldness also flashed in his eyes. That fellow had taken advantage of the chaos back then to flee. Xiao Yang had been thinking about this matter. After all, this fellow had remained in the Hall of Souls for a period of time. He might be aware of the place where teacher was locked. Moreover, even if Han Feng was unaware of it, Xiao Yang must personally kill this person who had betrayed his teacher. Otherwise, how could he be worthy of Yao Lao, who had placed high hopes on him? Ever since that fellow fled back then, he disappeared for a period of time. Originally, we would also have great difficulty finding him. However, a couple of days ago, Xiao Gate suddenly passed information saying that this fellow seems to have appeared at the Demon Flame Valley. Su Qian slowly spoke, Demon Flame Valley. Xiao Yang's eyes narrowed slightly. He immediately laughed coldly. Looks like this fellow is planning to take advantage of the death of the old ground demon ghost to completely take over everything that belonged to him. Han Feng possesses great ambition. He has encroached deep into the Black Corner region and possesses a large network there. If he is given sufficient time, he would definitely become an overlord of the area. It is not difficult for him to achieve this with his status as an alchemist. Su Qian nodded and said, this time around, he has secretly took over the Demon Flame Valley, and he did it in a quiet manner. If Xiao Gate hadn't been lucky, it is likely that they would have difficulty obtaining this information. Xiao Yang nodded slightly. The corner of his mouth was lifted to form a cold expression. It was good as long as this fellow did not enter the vast mountain forest. As long as he was in the Black Corner region, Xiao Yang would have the confidence to capture this dog that had lost its home. What do you plan to do? Su Qian glanced at Xiao Yang and asked, this fellow cannot be let off no matter what. Otherwise, there will be a lot of trouble in the future. Xiao Yang slowly tightened his fist and softly said, gather some people. This time around, I will definitely not allow this fellow to flee alive. I need to know some information from his mouth. Su Qian smiled slightly and nodded. He said, it seems that it is not impossible to capture him with the strength of our side. When will you act? Xiao Yang's hand grabbed toward the back of the cave. A black figure carried a clearly low whistle shot out. Finally, it transformed into a heavy ruler that fell into Xiao Yang's hand. He flipped with his hand and the heavy ruler was inserted behind him. The corner of his mouth was immediately lifted into a cold smile, as he said in a dense manner, now. 4 Inner Academy's elders were seated at the bottom of the blazing sky chi refining tower. Their eyes were slightly shut. Between the 4 of them was, coincidentally, the deep hole that led into the magma world. The soft sound of rushing wind suddenly appeared from the deep hole. The eyes of the 4 elders suddenly opened at the same time. Immediately, their gazes focused on the deep hole, and the do qi within their bodies involuntarily began to flow. During the time that the 4 elders waited solemnly, a black figure suddenly flashed out before gently landing on the ground. The eyes of the 4 people drifted over. Only then did they softly sigh in relief. After which, they smiled and cupped their hands to that person. The one who had exited the deep hole was naturally Xiao Yang. He courteously smiled to 4 elders. Su Qian also rushed out of the deep hole soon after Xiao Yang had exited from it. The 4 elders sighed in relief when they saw this. They also knew the level of danger in the magma world below. Hence, they were afraid that Su Qian might have met with an accident within. First elder, take out the flame-gathering pot and try to see if it has any effect. There is no need to rush for this bit of time, because of the matter of Han Feng. Xiao Yang looked at Su Qian, who had landed steadily. He did not hurry to gather helpers. Instead, he gave a faint smile and gave a suggestion. Su Qian smiled and nodded when he heard this. He tossed his hand. The flame-gathering pot shot out of his storage ring and slowly landed in front of the 4 elders. He smiled and said, all of you practice fire affinity chi methods. Pour your do qi into it and see just how much heart flame can be stimulated. The 4 elders exchanged glances after looking at the flame-gathering pot in front of them. They did not hesitate much. The fingers of the 4 of them touched the body of the pot. After which, they shut their eyes slightly and powerful do qi within their bodies flowed into the flame-gathering pot like floodwater. 4 fire affinity do qis of different shades poured into the flame-gathering pot like trickling streams. After which, the do qi swelled slightly before charging into the fallen heart flame. Bang. Following the entry of the do qi, the infant fallen heart flame's surface suddenly erupted and formed a wave of intense light. It appeared like a huge piece of rock thrown at the calm surface of a lake. Circular, invisible ripples swiftly spread out from the flame-gathering pot. These invisible waves curled and rose. Finally, they penetrated the tower 1 level at a time and encompassing the entire blazing sky chi refining tower within it. At this moment, the many students, who were quietly training within the blazing sky chi refining tower suddenly opened their eyes. Their hands involuntarily rubbed their chests. A wave of hot heart flame had suddenly appeared there. Some of the older students within the inner academy were not foreign to this heart flame, because they had enjoyed the benefits of this kind of refinement before. However, that benefit was lost ever since the heart flame of the inner academy was exhausted. Originally, they had thought they might not be able to enjoy that kind of treatment until they had graduated. Much to their joy, however, it had quietly returned. The blazing sky chi refining tower is able to produce a heart flame again. After the entire blazing sky chi refining tower experienced some initial surprise, the information of the blazing sky chi refining tower being revived was like a breeze that spread from the tower. It spread across the entire inner academy at a frightening speed. Within a short while, all of the students became jovial. The inner academy, with the blazing sky chi refining tower, was the true inner academy. Even though Xiao Yan and the others were at the bottom of the tower, they were still able to hear the many cheers that were transmitted through the tower. Immediately, Xiao Yan exchanged glances with Su Qian, and the two of them sighed in relief, appearing as though they had just released a heavy burden. After exiting the blazing sky chi refining tower, Su Qian led Xiao Yang and hurried to the elders' meeting room in the deeper region of the inner academy. He had already dispatched an elder to invite the little fairy doctor and the others over for the issue of gathering helpers. By the time Xiao Yang and Su Qian arrived at the meeting room, the little fairy doctor, Zi Yang, Xiao Li, and some of the experts from Xiao Gate were already seated within. The large group looked at Xiao Yang, who had entered, and some surprise was revealed in their eyes. "Little fellow, you have finally come out." Xiao Li took the lead to stand up and say something to Xiao Yang with a smile. Xiao Yang grinned and nodded to Xiao Li. After which, he found a seat beside the little fairy doctor and Zi Yang. His gaze swept over these large and small beauties before teasingly saying, "After not seeing you for a couple of months, it seems that the both of you have become even prettier. Don't think some nice words can eliminate the great sin of you tossing us aside to look for fun by yourself." Zi Yang curled her small mouth and sneered without giving Xiao Yang face. "Sin your head." Xiao Yang was unable to laugh or cry as he shook his head. His hand rubbed the top of this little fellow's head. After which, his eyes found the little fairy doctor, who was smiling quietly. His voice was gentler as he said, "Have you been all right during these few months?" The matter that he was speaking about was naturally the little fairy doctor's woeful poison body. "It's all right. I am temporarily still able to suppress it." The little fairy doctor pulled and parted a strand of snow-like hair from above her forehead, as she softly spoke. Her greyish-purple moving eyes rotated to Xiao Yang. Surprise flashed across her eyes. "You have advanced again." Xiao Yang smiled and nodded. The little fairy doctor's strength was even greater than First Elder Su Qian's. She was naturally able to see through the change in his aura. This Han Feng is wildly ambitious. He had put in great pains to establish his old connections within the Black Corner region. Although he was defeated by you a couple of times, he has currently reached the Do Zone strength. His summoning ability within the Black Corner region has not been reduced by even a little. If we were to really allow him to form an alliance with these factions within the Black Corner region, it is likely that they will be a great threat to the Jiunan Academy and Xiao Gate. Su Qian spoke in a deep voice. "On our side, we have only two genuine elite Do Zone, namely the little fairy doctor and I. The Elder Qian and Elder Bai within the Inner Academy will never act on this kind of matter. Their mission is to protect the Jiunan Academy from being destroyed. Therefore, we will have to rely on ourselves for everything else. Hence we must not allow the alliance with the other factions in the Black Corner region to succeed. Otherwise, they would have the opportunity to turn things around." Xiao Li sinisterly continued. Xiao Yang quietly nodded. His finger gently tapped the table. A moment later, he slowly asked, "When will he invite these factions?" "Tomorrow." Xiao Yang lowered his chin slightly. His body gently leaned on the backrest as he faintly said, "Second brother, maneuver all the experts from Xiao Gate. Additionally, dispatch someone to make contact with the factions that have a good relationship with Xiao Gate. Ask them to dispatch some experts. Tomorrow, all of us will head to the Demon Flame Valley. This time, I want to make sure that Han Feng will be unable to come back." Xiao Li nodded his head when he heard this. The corner of his mouth was parted into a savage smile as he said, "The Demon Flame Valley has a deep enmity with our Xiao Gate. This time around, we can eliminate them together and allow the other factions within the Black Corner region to know that not anyone can offend our Xiao Gate. The Demon Flame Valley and the Jiunan Academy's relationship is absolutely irreconcilable. This time around, the Academy will dispatch all of its experts." We must completely eliminate them at their roots. A ruthlessness also flashed through Su Qian's eyes. Quite a number of the Jiunan Academy students had been killed by the Demon Flame Valley during their outside training over the years. The relationship between both parties had long reached an unmendable stage. Xiao Yang nodded. He slowly stood up and threw his gaze in the direction of the Demon Flame Valley. A dense smile surfaced on his young face. Everything should come to an end the next day. On a small mountain peak not far from the peace town of the Jiunan Academy, one would occasionally see flashing human figures within the dense forest. There were a couple of withered trees within the forest along with some flowers and grasses. The air was also very fresh. Over 10 human figures stood facing the wind on the mountain peak. The wild wind that blew over was unable to cause the clothes of these human figures to flutter even a little. The 10+ people quietly stood as the roaring wind smashed against their faces. However, not a single person moved because of this. All of them stood quietly. The faint pressuring aura that was emitted caused the mountain peak to be completely silent. A black-robed, young man stood at the leader's spot. His eyes were shut while his hands were placed behind him. A long while later, his ears suddenly moved and he faintly said, "They are here. They are finally here." Over 10 black spots suddenly appeared in the horizon not long after Xiao Yang's voice sounded. In merely a couple of blinks, these black spots turned into human figures that rushed over. They only gradually reduced their speed when they were a short distance from the mountain peak. After which, they slowly descended from the sky. "Ha ha ha, Chief Xiao. It has been a couple of years since we last met. Are you still well?" The 10+ human figures rushed down. The leader, who had laughed out loud, was a strong man with a naked upper body that emitted a fierceness. Chief Tai's might is not inferior when compared to back then. One can hardly find anyone in the Black Corner region who has such an imposing presence. Xiao Yang looked at this chief of the Wild Lion Gang, Wu Tai, who had once cooperated with him to deal with the Misty Cloud sect, before cupping his hands. He spoke with a smile, whose imposing manner can compare with Chief Xiao. Currently, who in the Black Corner region does not know that chief that has not only relied on himself to kill the 3 great elders of the Demon Flame Valley, but also caused the old ground demon ghost to be unable to return. TSK, that is an expert who was a 7-star Dozong. He is basically an unmatchable existence within this Black Corner region. In the end, even such an expert had died in Chief Xiao's hands. Looks like this Black Corner region will likely belong to Xiao Gate in the future. A red-dressed pretty lady by the side, who was emitting enchantment throughout her body, covered her mouth and laughed in a lovely bewitching manner. That laughter contained some passion. This pretty woman was naturally not foreign to Xiao Yang. She was the chief of Luo Shao Gate whom he had also cooperated with before. She was an extremely beautiful woman, who hid a viciousness under this lovely body of hers. "Chief Xiao, you can rest assured. The usual arrogance and high-handedness has long been an eyesore to us. Today, we will borrow the wind of Xiao Gate to teach these bastards a lesson." "That's right. Han Feng is a hypocrite. Back then, he harmed many people in an indiscernible manner. The old me had been backstabbed a couple of times." Xiao Yang turned his head slightly and exchanged looks with Xiao Li after hearing the voices seeking a crusade against the Demon Flame Valley and Han Feng. A smile flashed across his eyes. These fellows were really quick to jump on the bandwagon. However, they were at the very least some help. With their aid, the Demon Flame Valley would likely truly be eliminated from the Black Corner region. Alright, it is already quite late. Let's start moving. Xiao Yang looked at the sky before interrupting the voices seeking a crusade. After which, he turned his head and waved his hand to the forest. One could immediately hear some clattering sound as dozens of human figures rushed out of the forest. Finally, they flapped their wings and remained in the air. "Let's go," Xiao Yang softly exhaled. A pair of crystal-clear bone wings extended from his back. He flapped them slightly and his body swiftly rose into the air. Seeing this action of Xiao Yang, Xiao Li and the others hurriedly got up. Only the little fairy doctor and Su Qian were casual and cool among the group. Their feet stepped on the empty air and walked. The ability of an elite Dozong to walk in the air really caused others to be envious. When Su Mai and the other experts saw the little fairy doctor and Su Qian walk in the air in this manner, their hearts shook violently. They exchanged gazes with one another and quietly muttered as expected. Currently, there were a total of 2 Dozong class experts on Xiao Yang's side. Adding this to his own frightening strength, that seriously did not tally with his level, it was likely that the 3 of them would be able to block 3 elite Dozongs. This line-up. It seemed that the Demon Flame Valley was completely finished. Sumai and the others did not dare to slack off, as this thought flashed in their hearts. They hurriedly summoned their Do Chi wings and rushed to the sky. Please visit frwn.o website to read fastest update. An elite Do zone possessed an important position and influence no matter where one was. This was especially the case when this Do zone was quite a high-tiered alchemist. Ever since Han Feng had taken over the Demon Flame Valley, he had relied on his network in the past to rope in quite a number of experts, who were free individuals within the Black Corner region. Moreover, he was still inviting many renowned factions from the Black Corner region, on a large scale, with the intention of establishing an alliance to contend against the increasingly powerful Xiao Gate and the Jiunan Academy. It must be said that Han Feng in the past had a reputation that an ordinary person had difficulty matching in the Black Corner region. By taking out the former Pill Emperor name, he had basically attracted many people with different intentions. Even a powerful faction, like the Black Emperor sect, was successfully invited by him. It must be said that the tenaciousness of this fellow in the Black Corner region was indeed something that an ordinary person would have difficulty matching. The enormous mountain valley appeared as though it had been dug from a mountain. The surroundings of the valley were filled with deep black rocks, with a gold-like luster faintly flickering on them. They were the black metal rock, which were extremely tough. Even an elite Do Wang would have difficulty shattering them. Looking at the dense black rocks, it appeared that this mountain range was a mineral vein. The headquarters of the Demon Flame Valley was located in this place. The Demon Flame Valley today was the most lively one in many years. Densely packed Demon Flame Valley guards were holding shiny weapons as they stood at the entrance to the valley. Anyone without an invitation card or loitering individuals were not allowed to enter, hence, this had resulted in a long queue being formed at the entrance of the valley. While the entrance to the valley had descended into a noisy area, the open ground deep within the valley was filled with a large number of experts and factions with great names from the Black Corner region. Han Feng occupied the leader's seat in the middle of the open ground. His face was filled with smiles as he observed the open ground, which had every seat filled. At this moment, he seemed to have returned to the brilliance and pride when he was Pill Emperor back then. Xiao Yan. The grudge between you and I will be settled very soon. At that time, I will definitely get you to hand over the flame mantra to me obediently. A young figure flashed across his mind. Han Feng's grip on his teacup suddenly tightened. A ruthless and savage smile flashed across his eyes. While Han Feng was laughing ferociously in his heart, the large group of unwanted guests led by Xiao Yan quietly arrived. A large battle was about to erupt. These fellows were really quick to jump on the bandwagon. However, they were at the very least some help. With their aid, the Demon Flame Valley would likely truly be eliminated from the Black Corner region. Alright, it is already quite late. Let's start moving. Xiao Yang looked at the sky before interrupting the voices seeking a crusade. After which, he turned his head and waved his hand to the forest. One could immediately hear some clattering sound as dozens of human figures rushed out of the forest. Finally, they flapped their wings and remained in the air. Let's go, Xiao Yang softly exhaled. A pair of crystal-clear bone wings extended from his back. He flapped them slightly and his body swiftly rose into the air. Seeing this action of Xiao Yang, Xiao Li, and the others hurriedly got up. Only the little fairy doctor and Su Qian were casual and cool among the group. Their feet stepped on the empty air and walked. The ability of an elite Do zone to walk in the air really caused others to be envious. When Su Mai and the other experts saw the little fairy doctor and Su Qian walk in the air in this manner, their hearts shook violently. They exchanged gazes with one another and quietly muttered as expected. Currently, there were a total of 2 Do zone class experts on Xiao Yang's side. Adding this to his own frightening strength, that seriously did not tally with his level, it was likely that the 3 of them would be able to block 3 elite Do zones. This lineup. It seemed that the Demon Flame Valley was completely finished. Sumai and the others did not dare to slack off as this thought flashed in their hearts. They hurriedly summoned their Do Chi wings and rushed to the sky. Please visit frwn.o website to read fastest update. An elite Do zone possessed an important position and influence no matter where one was. This was especially the case when this Do zone was quite a high-tiered alchemist. Ever since Han Feng had taken over the Demon Flame Valley, he had relied on his network in the past to rope in quite a number of experts, who were free individuals within the Black Corner region. Moreover, he was still inviting many renowned factions from the Black Corner region, on a large scale, with the intention of establishing an alliance to contend against the increasingly powerful Xiao Gate and the Jiunan Academy. It must be said that Han Feng in the past had a reputation that an ordinary person had difficulty matching in the Black Corner region. By taking out the former Pill Emperor name, he had basically attracted many people with different intentions. Even a powerful faction, like the Black Emperor sect, was successfully invited by him. It must be said that the tenaciousness of this fellow in the Black Corner region was indeed something that an ordinary person would have difficulty matching. The enormous mountain valley appeared as though it had been dug from a mountain. The surroundings of the valley were filled with deep black rocks, with a gold-like luster faintly flickering on them. They were the black metal rock, which were extremely tough. Even an elite Do Wang would have difficulty shattering them. Looking at the dense black rocks, it appeared that this mountain range was a mineral vein. The headquarters of the Demon Flame Valley was located in this place. The Demon Flame Valley today was the most lively one in many years. Densely packed Demon Flame Valley guards were holding shiny weapons as they stood at the entrance to the valley. Anyone without an invitation card or loitering individuals were not allowed to enter, hence, this had resulted in a long queue being formed at the entrance of the valley. While the entrance to the valley had descended into a noisy area, the open ground deep within the valley was filled with a large number of experts and factions with great names from the Black Corner region. Han Feng occupied the leader's seat in the middle of the open ground. His face was filled with smiles as he observed the open ground, which had every seat filled. At this moment, he seemed to have returned to the brilliance and pride when he was Pill Emperor back then. Xiao Yan. The grudge between you and I will be settled very soon. At that time, I will definitely get you to hand over the flame mantra to me obediently. A young figure flashed across his mind. Han Feng's grip on his teacup suddenly tightened. A ruthless and savage smile flashed across his eyes. While Han Feng was laughing ferociously in his heart, the large group of unwanted guests led by Xiao Yan quietly arrived. A large battle was about to erupt. On the left and right side of Han Feng sat Mo Tianxing from the Black Emperor sect, and old Ying Shan, who had fought with Xiao Yang for the Bodhisattva body transformation saliva. At this moment, the two of them had shut their eyes. They ignored the surrounding people. Their calm and indifferent manner caused ordinary people to be afraid of striking up a conversation with them. With the strength of these two people, no one dared to have any objection to them sitting in the leader's seat. Other than the old ground demon ghost, who had already been destroyed, it was likely that these two old fellows were the strongest within the Black Corner region. Of course, the size of the Black Corner region was quite large. No one knew if there was some old demon, who had never shown himself, hidden within the deep mountains or ancient forests. After all, some genuine expert in this world always liked to do such a thing. Below Mo Tianxing and old Ying Shan were some of the leaders of renowned factions within the Black Corner region. Some of these people had a good relationship with Han Feng while others were remaining neutral. However, due to the influence of Han Feng and his strength, they had no choice but to come and join this so-called grand gathering. Other than some of the experts from the Demon Flame Valley beside Han Feng on the leader's seat, there were also some familiar faces. The so-called gold-silver elders were the ones most recognizable. These two fellows had a grudge with Xiao Yang because of Han Feng. It was natural that they were extremely willing to join the Demon Flame Valley the moment that they got Han Feng's invitation. They knew Han Feng extremely well. Although this fellow was ruthless and vicious, he was indeed skilled in medicinal refinement. One would not lose out by following him. Moreover, the current Han Feng was already an elite Do Zone with a strength that far exceeded them. Hence, these two old fellows were not opposed to submitting to him. Instead, they were somewhat joyful that they had found support. I think everyone seated here should have heard about the matter some time ago. The Demon Flame Valley's ground demon ancestor has been killed by the Jiunan Academy. Han Feng's face was somewhat dark when he spoke until this point. Some of the experts from the Demon Flame Valley also had faces that were filled with a dark and dense fury. Currently, the Demon Flame Valley and the Jiunan Academy had a blood feud. Both parties wished to destroy the other. Everyone in the open ground exchanged looks with each other. Their faces changed a little. They had indeed heard this news. However, they still felt shock when they heard it personally from Han Feng. The old ground demon ghost was an ultimate expert, who was at the 7-star Do Zone class. He could be said to be an existence that lacked an opponent within the entire Black Corner region. It was unexpected that he ended up being killed by the hands of the Jiunan Academy. The hands of Mo Tianxing and old Ying Shan, who had been expressionless and acted indifferently, also involuntarily trembled under their sleeves when they heard these words. Fear flashed across their eyes. Their information was naturally even keener than an ordinary faction. Hence, they also understood what exactly happened back then. It is unexpected that old Qian and old Bai, these two old demons, are hiding in the inner academy. This old ground demon ghost can be said to have collided into the tip of a spear. However, it is rumored that this old fellow was first seriously injured by a frightening Do skill that Xiao Yang had used. Otherwise, with his strength, it should definitely not be a problem for him to flee even if he could not defeat old Qian, and old by looks like this little fellow hides very deeply. Mo Tianxing's hand caressed the warm teacup and muttered to himself, if not for the bodhisattva body transformation saliva, the old me really doesn't wish to place my intention on that little fellow. That fellow is clearly the type who acts like a harmless pig to eat a tiger. Old Yingshan also knit his brows slightly as he used a soft voice, only audible to him, to sigh, the strength of the Jiunan Academy has far exceeded our understanding. Moreover, they have always disliked the Black Corner region. Currently, the Demon Flame Valley has been badly hurt by them. I will say something awful. If they were to strike another faction presently seated, it is likely that none of us would be able to stop them. Moreover, there is still that so-called Xiao Gate. Its founder Xiao Yan is someone from the Inner Academy. This faction is clearly in cahoots with the Jiunan Academy. Under the support of the Jiunan Academy, the strength of Xiao Gate ridiculously expanded. If the Demon Flame Valley had not stepped forward to stop them in the past, it is likely that the limbs of Xiao Gate would have already intruded in front of everyone. Han Feng's dark and solemn voice slowly resonated over the open ground. Han Feng smiled when he saw the gazes being gathering on him again. He first obscurely threw a satisfied gaze to that human figure. After which, he arranged his clothes and smiled as he said, with the strength of the Jiunan Academy and Xiao Gate, it is likely that not a single faction in the Black Corner region is able to contend with them alone. Therefore, in order to protect one's safety, one would have to abandon any prejudice and form an alliance to fight the enemy together, an alliance. Most of the people present understood Han Feng's intention after hearing this phrase. Everyone knew that the Demon Flame Valley had a blood feud with the Jiunan Academy as well as Xiao Gate. Currently, the Demon Flame Valley was seriously battered. If the other party were to launch a campaign and attack, it was likely that the Demon Flame Valley would be eliminated from the Black Corner region. However, if the Demon Flame Valley was to join with the many factions in the Black Corner region, it would mean that over half of the Black Corner region would be joined together. It was likely that even the Jiunan Academy and Xiao Gate would not dare be reckless. Sect leader Mo and old Yingshan are in agreement with the matter regarding the formation of an alliance. This also provides the greatest protection to everyone. After all, who will not be afraid in the future with Xiao Gate looking on menacingly by the side? Han Feng spoke in a faint voice as he looked over the open ground, which had become much quieter. Numerous gazes turned to Mo Tianxing and old Yingshan when they heard this. These two people possessed a great reputation within the Black Corner region. Moreover, the two of them were genuine elite dozongs. If these two agreed to this alliance, the strength of this alliance would likely be somewhat frightening. Thus, they really need not be afraid of the Jiunan Academy and Xiao Gate. The sudden laughter caused everyone to feel shocked. They immediately turned their heads and their eyes swung toward the entrance of the open ground. A large group of people with fierce auras all over their bodies was slowly entering. Leading the group was a black-robed, young man, who was wearing a smile as he slowly walked in Xiao Yan. As they looked at the black-robed, young man, almost everyone seated instantly recognized this extremely renowned young. All of them let out an involuntary cry. The cry carried some panic as it resounded over the area. At this moment, Xiao Yang's face, which was covered with smiles, had instantly turned into a vicious and sinister one. The only person I am against is Han Feng and the Demon Flame Valley. It has nothing to do with anyone else. However, if an outsider intervenes, I will naturally not show any mercy. Xiao Yang slowly walked to the open ground. His soft, shosho footsteps caused quite a number of people seated to feel a pressure. After the matter that had caused an uproar some time, Xiao Yang's fierce reputation had become even greater within the Black Corner region. Hence, no one dared to underestimate this man, who looked quite young. You need not inform the guards from outside of the Demon Flame Valley. We already got rid of them when we entered. The quiet action of Han Feng did not escape Xiao Yang's notice. The latter immediately smiled. His smile emitted a bloody scent. Han Feng and the many Demon Flame Valley experts were stunned when they heard this. Han Feng immediately and furiously cried out, "What a vicious little fellow. Do you really intend to kill off the Demon Flame Valley and not leave anything alive?" Xiao Yang smiled faintly. His voice was calm as he replied, "When the Demon Flame Valley attacked some of the innocent students from the Jiunan Academy, it should have expected something like this to happen. Although the Jiunan Academy dislikes a massacre, she is not foolish enough to be kind to her enemies." Han Feng narrowed his eyes. A cold glint and killing intent surged within them. Majestic Do Qi lingered over his body. Under the pressure of the Do Qi, even the tough table in front of him began to split with a cracking sound. "Looks like you have really come here with the intention of destroying the Demon Flame Valley today. However, it is likely that this plan of yours has gone wrong. With sect leader Mo and old Yingshan present, you, as a younger generation, are not allowed to act presumptuously. If you are tactful, You should obediently hand over the Bodhisattva body transformation saliva. Han Feng cried out in a sinister manner. Xiao Yan's eyes moved and turned to Mo Tianxing and old Ying Shan by the side. One could neither hear joy nor anger in his tone as he inquired, does sect leader Mo and old Ying Shan plan to stand on the side of the Demon Flame Valley and Han Feng? Su Qian and the little fairy doctor behind Xiao Yang stepped forward softly while Xiao Yang spoke. Their eyes locked onto Mo Tianxing and old Ying Shan. There was a sense that they would break into a fight at the first disagreement. Xiao Yang's sudden appearance had clearly exceeded the expectations of Mo Tianxing and old Ying Shan. Due to the old ground demon ghost, their hearts were quite afraid of him. This was especially the case with Su Qian and the little fairy doctor, two elite dozongs supporting him. The aura of these two people involuntarily weakened a little. Chief Xiao, the Bodhisattva body transformation saliva really possesses too much of an attraction to the both of us. Han Feng has used this as an item of persuasion, and the two of us had difficulty rejecting him. Mo Tianxing gently rubbed his beard and slowly responded. If you are willing to hand the Bodhisattva body transformation saliva over, the two of us will leave immediately. We will not intervene in the matter between you and Han Feng. Old Ying Shan's gaze locked onto Xiao Yang as he spoke with a deep voice. Today is the settling of a grudge between Xiao Gate and the Demon Flame Valley. I hope that anyone not involved will not join in. Anyone who does not stand on the Demon Flame Valley's side will be Xiao Yang's and Xiao Gate's friend. I, Xiao Yang, am still quite friendly to my friends. However, if my enemy is before me, I will definitely eliminate them at their roots. Xiao Yang climbed the open ground that was built from black metal rock. His aura had suddenly rose, as his soft cry clearly resounded beside the ears of everyone present. The expressions of quite a number of people changed a little as they sensed the powerful aura that spread from Xiao Yang's body. Xiao Yang's current strength had already reached a 6-star Do Huang. Adding the effect of flame mantra and the heavenly flames, the strength of the force was sufficient to contend with an expert at the peak of the Do Huang class. Other than Han Feng and a couple of others who were not influenced by it, the remaining people felt a muffled feeling of a large rock blocking their chest. A surprise flashed across the eyes of Han Feng, Mo Tianxing, and the others in the face of Xiao Yang's even more powerful aura. After they sensed it carefully, they finally understood that Xiao Yang's strength had advanced a little within these few months. Although his strength had only been raised by 1 star, this speed was quite terrifying. We cannot allow this fellow to act so mightily without any fear. A coldness flashed across Han Feng's eyes. He turned his head and threw a look toward the gold-silver elders beside him. Chief Xiao, today is the day where the Demon Flame Valley has invited guests. Those who have come uninvited should leave. The gold-silver elders cupped their hands to Xiao Yang as they cried out in cold voices. The instant the two people's words sounded, the slight sound of thunder suddenly spread across the sky. Immediately a pair of long hands grabbed the necks of the two from behind. The bodies of the two people stiffened abruptly the moment the somewhat icy hand landed on their necks. Shock slowly solidified on their faces. The two of you no longer have the qualifications to speak to me in this manner. A young face slowly extended out from behind the two of them. The force on his hands gradually increased. At this moment, all he needed to do was to exert a little force in order to break the necks of these two people on the spot. What frightening speed! How can a Do Huang achieve such a speed? The entire place became quiet as they looked at the black-robed young man, who had appeared behind the gold-silver elders, as though he had teleported. Surprised voices involuntarily sounded. At this moment, Xiao Yang maintained his stance with both his hands clenched around the neck of the gold-silver elders. A pair of 10-foot-long bone wings slowly flapped behind him. Each time the bone wings flapped, the slight sound of thunderous roar would appear in the air. A slight wind would also spread with the flapping of the bone wings. Xiao Yang's speed reached a level where even an ordinary elite dozong had difficulty matching him after unfurling his jade bone wings. Adding this to the ignorance of the gold-silver elders, Xiao Yang had easily restrained them at the first contact. This kind of visual assault gave everyone an enormous shock. Under the provocation of the vague killing intent that spread from behind them, the forehead of the gold-silver elders emitted a dense, cold perspiration. Their bodies did not dare to even tremble a little. They could clearly sense a hidden force lingering on Xiao Yang's palm. Once this force was unleashed, they, who lacked any defense, would likely lose their lives on the spot. Chief Xiao, please show mercy. Mo Tianxing knit his brows as he stared at the extremely familiar bone wings. A moment later, he finally recalled something. Was this pair of bone wings not the bone wings from the magical beast corpse that Xiao Yang had obtained from the auction? It was unexpected that the magical beast corpse that they had deemed to be useless would actually be fiddled with by Xiao Yang until it possessed such a frightening impact. From the looks of it, Mo Tianxing had really suffered extreme losses from this transaction. Damn it. I was taken advantage by this brat. Mo Tianxing's heart released such a thought as he stared at the bone wings with heated eyes. You really think highly of yourself. An alchemist and a poison master are two clearly defined occupations. An ordinary poison might be solved by some ordinary antidote. However, the poison within young sect leader Mo Ye is not an ordinary poison. I think that this point is something that sect leader Mo understands very well. Hence, if you really wish to hand your son's life to an alchemist who does not specialize in poison, you are accepting a great risk. Xiao Yan glanced at Han Feng and mocked him before involuntarily shaking his head. Hearing Xiao Yang's words, Mo Tianxing, who was a little convinced by Han Feng, hesitated again. A moment later, he finally asked in a low solemn manner, "Do you dare hat you will completely cure my son of the poison within his body after this is over?" Please visit frwn.o website to read fastest update. I use the name of Xiao Gate to guarantee my word. Sect leader Mo, you can rest assured that Xiao Yang does not wish to easily offend an elite dozong unless it is absolute necessary. Xiao Yang smiled and spoke after hearing Mo Tianxing's somewhat desperate tone. Mo Tianxing's face stiffened. A moment later, he finally nodded his head. All right, the old me shall believe you this once. Sect leader Mo, this little fellow is full of tricks. He is clearly attempting to divide us. It is not as though you are unaware of his strength. If he wishes to settle the scores in the future, the strength of your Black Emperor sect would likely have difficulty blocking him. A ferocious fury flashed across Han Feng's eyes when he saw that Mo Tianxing was actually convinced by Xiao Yang to withdraw. On the surface, however, he spoke with great regret. I do not wish to use my son as stakes, Mo Tianxing gloomily responded. He had put in tons of effort to groom Mo Ye for many years. Naturally, it was impossible for him to simply watch his son lose his life under the torture of this poison. Han Feng's expression grew more dark and dense as people began to rise from their seats and leave one after another. A while later, his face was finally covered under a dark, dense shadow. A vicious low voice slowly sounded. Xiao Yang, originally, I wanted to allow you to live a little longer. However, since you insist on seeking death, do not blame me for not considering our relationship as people who share the same teacher. Xiao Yang knit his brows when he heard this. What other tricks did this fellow have? Having understood Xiao Yang's thoughts, Han Feng slowly raised his head. His face had a strange smile hanging on it. After which, an unusual laughter was transmitted from his mouth in an ear-piercing manner. Protector Xian, please intervene. Bang. Bang. Han Feng's laughter had just sounded when waves of black fog suddenly erupted from the surrounding mountain walls. Black fog curled and rose. Immediately, dozens of human figures hidden under the black fog appeared in front of everyone's eyes. The sudden unexpected occurrence caused everyone present to be shocked. They immediately panicked a little as they looked all over the place, people from the Hall of Souls. It is unexpected that Han Feng has actually made contact with them. This unexpected change had also caused Xiao Yang's group to be slightly startled. After which, Xiao Yang's face changed as he spoke in a dense manner. There is no need to be worried. Other than one of them whose strength is at the Dozone class, there is no need to be afraid of the remaining people. Su Qian and the little fairy doctor moved. Su Qian opened his mouth and spoke when they appeared beside Xiao Yang. Mo Tianxing and old Ying Shan were stunned because of the change of the situation within the battleground. It was unexpected that Han Feng appeared to have kept some tricks. There was an expert at the Dozone class among these people within the mysterious black fog. Protector Xian, this person is Xiao Yang. He is also someone from the Jioma Empire's Xiao clan, which the Hall of Souls is spending a great effort to investigate. The thing that you need might be on him. TSK, even if the thing is not on him, this little fellow has two kinds of heavenly flame within him. It is likely that the effects of capturing him and handing him to an honorable elder within the hall would satisfy them more than any ordinary soul. Han Feng raised his head and loudly spoke to a person with the densest fog surrounding him. Xiao Yang ha. He, I have heard Protector Wu mention you. A little troublesome. However, it is fortunate that I have received information about you and have prepared quite a lot of things. Before hurrying over, a hoarse voice was transmitted from the lingering black fog before reverberating in an unusually ear-piercing manner beside everyone's ears. Protector Wu. A bloody redness suddenly surged into Xiao Yang's eyes when he heard this familiar name. A furious killing intent churned unceasingly like a wave in his heart. It seems that you possess great hatred toward Protector Wu. It is expected. Your teacher was captured by that fellow in front of you. As his disciple, you would definitely feel terrible. However, you need not be bothered. You will be able to see your teacher soon. The person within the black fog let out a sinister laugh, before suddenly crying out in a cold voice. All spirit envoys, listen up. Form the 10,000 soul-swallowing formation. When the cry sounded, one could see black fog surging out from the black shadows on the mountain walls in all directions. Immediately, the fog formed a black cloud that covered the valley. After which, a couple of black fog-like things, that were spinning, flew out. A faint glow that was emitted from within them as numerous illusionary spiritual bodies, with a pairs of bright red eyes surged out like evil ghosts. Finally, they emitted a terribly sharp cry that caused one's blood to boil as they shot toward everyone within the valley from all directions. The savage smile on Han Feng's face became even denser, as he sat on the leader's seat, and watched the countless spirits surge out. This video will end here. Thank you for watching.